A very warm welcome to all the participants joining us today for this crucial webinar on Puducherry's coastal future, adapting, adapting to climate change and rising sea levels, organized by Puducherry Climate itself. We are gathered here to discuss the urgent challenges posed by climate change, particularly the rising sea levels, and explore potential adaptation strategies for a beloved Puducherry. Climate change is no longer a distant threat. Its impacts are already being felt across the globe, and our coastal regions are particularly vulnerable. Puducherry, with its unique coastal ecosystem, faces significant risk from rising sea levels, including coastal erosion, increased flooding, and saltwater intrusion. On behalf of Puducherry Climate Change Cell, I cordially invite Tirukal Kalamigam, Environmental Engineer, Department of Science, Technology and Environment, and our today's expert, Dr. E. Yuvaraj, Assistant Professor, Department of Coastal Disaster Management, Puducherry University, Port Black campus, and the participants from various departments for this informative webinar. I now request Tirukal Kalamigam, Environmental Engineer, Department of Science, Technology and Environment, to deliver the keynote address.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. It's an honor to address you today on a topic of profound significance Puducherry's coastal future, adapting to climate change and rising sea levels. Our gathering reflects a shared commitment to protecting the coastal treasures that define this region's identity and support its livelihood. Before proceeding, I would like to express my heartfelt thanks to our esteemed resource person, Dr. E. Yuvaraj, Assistant Professor, Department of Coastal Disaster Management, Pondicherry University at Port Black campus, for joining us today and sharing his invaluable expertise on this critical issue. As we all know, Puducherry's coastline is a defining feature of our union territory. Its stunning beaches, vibrant ecosystems, and rich cultural heritage are not only resources of pride, but also pillars of our economy, supporting tourism, fisheries, and coastal livelihoods. However, this invaluable asset faces mounting threats due to climate change and associated impacts. Um, the present coastal threats includes the rising sea level. As we all know, uh, a WMO's study on state of global climate states that the mean global sea level has risen 2.1 millimeter per year between 1993 and 2002, and it has nearly doubled 4.4 millimeter per year between 2000 and 2021. So we can observe that the global mean sea level has risen by a factor of 2 within a period of 10 years. The various factors which contribute to this rise in sea level are the depleting ice sheets in Greenland and Antarctic ice sheets, glacial mass loss, and also the ocean thermal expansion, which are main causative of the rising sea level. Also, we face threats like coastal erosion. The NCCR study done recently has revealed that almost 50% of our coastal areas are succumbing to the threat of coastal erosion. And also, we have this extreme weather events like cyclones and storm surges, which frequency as well as intensity is rising year after year. And also, another threat is the salinity of the groundwater. There is saltwater intrusion in most of our coastal areas. In Pondicherry, especially on the northern side, we have almost 4 kilometers of area facing this underground aquifers facing up to 4 kilometers salinity intrusion. And in the southern part of Pondicherry, up to 12 kilometers, there is salinity intrusion. And in future also, it is expected that these kind of threats will be compounding. A study by Annamalai University Center for Climate Change, which was done about 2 years back, has observed that the sea level rise would be about 18.2 centimeters by 2050 under RCP 2.6 scenario, and under RCP 8.5 scenario, it is likely that 22.8 centimeter rise in sea level will be there along the Pondicherry Cuddalore coast. 1 centimeter rise in sea level in plain areas, low-lying areas like Pondicherry, can cause an inundation of around 10 meters to even about 1 kilometers on the landward side. So we can imagine about how a 22 centimeter, 20 centimeter increase in rainfall in the sea level would affect the coastal areas, how much extent of land would be inundated. So, considering the future threats, present and future threats, there's a need for identifying pathways to enhance the resilience of the coastal areas. We need to go for restoration of natural defenses like mangroves and coral reefs and the sand dunes also. And also, we'll have to create resilient coastal infrastructures for protecting the coastal areas, like sea walls or hybrid solutions like groin fields combined with sand nourishment to protect our beaches and preserve long and recover or restore our long lost beaches. Construct climate resilient flood barriers, elevated housing, and there are a lot of climate resilient infrastructures, proven technologies available which needs to be explored and implemented in the right places. And also there is to be integration of climate resilience into the urban development plans and zoning regulations. And also we need to foster community participation by combining the traditional knowledge with modern science and empowering the local communities through proper education and awareness programs. So though the challenges we face are significant and they are all insurmountable, Puducherry has an opportunity to transform these challenges into a resilient adaptive future. By building a sustainable and inclusive coastline, we can become a global example of hope and innovation in the face of climate adversity. So let us move forward with collective resolution to ensure that Puducherry's coastal future is not only protected but flourishes as a beacon of resilience and sustainability. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I now request the D. Balaji, State Project Associate of Puducherry Climate Change Cell, to introduce our today's expert.
Thank you. So, our speaker today, Dr. E. Yuvaraj, is an assistant professor in the Department of Coastal Disaster Management, Pondicherry University at Port Blair. Prior to joining Pondicherry University, he has worked in the State Disaster Management Authority of Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh, National Center for Sustainable Coastal Management, Regional Integrated Multi-Hazard Early Warning Systems for Africa and Asia, Asian Development Bank, and other private sectors, with expertise in the field of early warning systems, infrastructure resilience, policies and plans for disaster management, nature-based solution, coastal zone management, GIS and remote sensing applications. He has guided about 12 postgraduate students and 3 PhD scholars and has about 16 publications. He has conducted 2 international and 1 national workshops and 1 NIDM training. He has completed 4 consultancy projects. Currently, he has 2 projects undergoing with INCOIS and ISRO. Dr. Rivaraj was also an expert member in the development of early warning systems for the Indian states of Tamil Nadu and Odisha in India and, and also in Cambodia. And he was a key member of technical committee in Tamil Nadu State Disaster Management Authority for the preparation of Tamil Nadu State Disaster Management Perspective Plan. He was also very much instrumental in piloting the Common Alert Protocol in Tamil Nadu, which is a facility for dissemination of local location-based targeted alert system and early warning system through SMS and vernacular languages, which I believe should be considered a significant move in reaching out to the masses on early warning. So on this note, I once again welcome Dr. E. Yuvaraj, an expert member, an expert speaker for today's talk. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Balaji. I now request Dr. E. Yuvaraj, Assistant Professor, Department of Coastal Disaster Management, Pondicherry University, Portland campus, to give the presentation on Puducherry's coastal future, adapting to climate change and rising sea levels. You can have your presentation also.
Thank you very much, Mr. Balaji and Mr. Shantalakshmi, Ms. Shantalakshmi. Then my screen is visible to you all.
Yes, sir. You can make a presentation, sir.
Yes. My screen is visible to you all.
It's loading, sir. You can switch to the. Very Sir, you can present your
Yes, 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 that's one.
the other window.
My screen is visible.
Yes, sir. You can switch to full screen mode and you can start, sir.
I think it's not showing. Whether it is visible to you now?
Your screen is visible, sir. You can start the presentation.
Thank you very much for the brief introduction. So, very good afternoon to all. So, it's my pleasure to present Puducherry's coastal future adapting to climate change and rising sea levels. So, I hope it's a wide range of audience are present, including decision makers, technical specialists, and operation specialists of various departments from Puducherry. And also, I hope some of the scholars and the students from Pondicherry universities are also present. So I hope this presentation will provide a basic understanding of climate change and sea level rise, and a brief about the adaptation measures. These following contents like climate change, coastal flooding, and its adaptation measures. So, when coming to the presentation, so small introduction about the climate change, as it is well known. Climate change is nothing but a change in state of climate when compared to the statistical average for the past 5 to 6 decades. So when comparing this statistical average with the mean or variability of its properties that persist for an extended period, typically a decades or longer. So it's not a very small duration we can mention it as a climate change. We have to consider at least the changes should be typically decades. So at least it should be 10 years or more. So, as it's well known that there are different causes of climate change, as the deforestation and fossil fuel emissions and greenhouse gas effect and destruction of marine ecosystems and population explosion. So, usually in my class, I always mention about the population explosion and increase. So that is the basic reason for all these issues like habitat alteration and pollution and uh, over exploitation and introduction of invasive species. So this is the major reason. And destruction of marine ecosystems is also a considerable one. When compare, most of the people are thinking about this deforestation as mostly the forest will absorb more oxygen, more carbon dioxide and releases oxygen. But in real case, ocean will absorb more carbon dioxide due to this photosynthesis of planktons, and it releases the oxygen. So in compared to the forest, oceans also important one. In recent years, due to acidification, so this ocean acidification, these uh, carbon sequestration level of ocean will also getting reduced. So these also leads to a aggressive of the climate change. So when coming to the impacts of the ecosystems, so there are a lot of ecosystem impacts due to this climate change. One is the changes in ecosystem structure. So the structure of ecosystems will be affected, including the terrestrial, freshwater, and ocean. For example, if we take the terrestrial ecosystems like uh, wetland or forest. So if we take this ecosystem cycle will get affected and the habitat alteration and only the adaptive species will be thrive. So this results to the species range shifts. So which are all the species which are able to adapt for the change in the climate condition or able to adapt in the high extreme climatic condition only will survive. So the remaining species will get affected or it will be threatened. So as mentioned, the IPCC reports. So most of the species are threatened due to this change in the ecosystem structure and changing timing like phenology. So similarly, the growth of species in the forest as well as in the agriculture lands also will get affected. Similarly, the freshwaters also like the eutrophication and algal blooms. So this kind of events will occur in the frequently in this freshwater and in coastal regions as well. So in coming to the human systems, so in addition to the natural ecosystems, our human systems also depend on those ecosystems. So human systems such as like freshwater bodies, agriculture land, livestock, or fisheries. So all the every aspects we are depend on the ecosystem. So these human system will also get affected, particularly if you take Asian continent. So it is the agriculture crop production will be severely affected in the Asian continent, particularly in South Asia and Southeast Asia. The impacts is more. So, like it also assists to the animal and livestock health and productivity. So, the productivity of the livestock will also getting reduced. Suppose if the temperature is more during the summer region, so the poultry egg production will be less. Similarly, the milk production and dairy productivity will get less. So, similarly, if the sea level rise is increasing, fisheries and aquaculture sector is also under threat, and it also has impacts on the health and well-being of the humans, like this results to more infectious diseases and heat and malnutrition and other disorders, and it also affects the mental health. So the continuous rise of this temperature, recent studies suggested it has some impacts on the mental health as well. So, if the climate extremes are severe, due to this climate induced displacement will also happen. So, like our ancestors, if we take last 3 4 decades, most of the generations move towards the urban area because of the like displacement due to this lack of agricultural activities in the rural areas due to the climate extreme events and impacts on cities, settlements, and infrastructure. So, inland flooding and associated damages will also get more chances of increasing, and flood or storm-induced damage to coastal areas we can also observe. Particularly in the Asian countries, most of the cities, including Pondicherry, has under threatened condition of damage to the coastal areas, particularly the households and the other infrastructures, critical infrastructures, and damage to the key economic sectors like fisheries, tourism. So these are also under a threatened condition. So, like, why we have to worry about the climate change is one of the important aspect is the children who born in 2020. So they are most vulnerable for this climate change impacts. Their chances of getting lifetime exposure to this climate change is high when compared to the children born in 1980. So if you take these children's, their age will also get reduced, their more chances of death, or the heat waves will also assist to the impacts on the river floods or droughts results to the food insecurity. So these kind of direct and indirect impacts will result to the reducing the lifetime of the next generation. So, how these climate changes are studied? So, I hope already the executive director already mentioned about the IPCC, so RCP and SSP. So, Intergovernmental Panel for the Climate Change was established in the late 1980s. So, it is a panel composed of a group of scientists, academicians, and decision makers from different governments throughout the global level, from different countries. They have participated and they have developed the multiple models. So these models are initially based on the RCP, representative concentration pathways. So it's based on the emissions. So up to AR5, they have decided to develop the RCP models. So recently in the AR6 model, so in the AR6, AR6 report, they have also introduced the SSP, shared socioeconomic pathways. This includes the socioeconomic assumptions based on the development of the different regions and geopolitical assumptions based on these their climate policies and economic and technological trends developed in different countries, like based on the technology they are using and based on the emissions from the different countries. So this IPCC sixth assessment report AR6 explores the projected climate change scenarios at different like five different scenarios they have developed. So if we see about the scenarios, SSP 1 to 5. So SSP 1 is a sustainability, so it's a taking a green road. This include low consumption and low population growth and reduce inequality within and across the countries, and policy focused on sustainable development like green energy and effective international cooperation between different countries to reduce the wars kind of situation and also to improve the green energy and reduce the fossil fuel emission. And SSP2 is the middle of the road, so it's a continue with the current development patterns. So what are the development patterns we are currently having? With the same pattern, we will go. And SSP3 is a regional regulatory, so it's a rocky road. It's like it's a policy focused on security and high inequality will observe between different countries, and slow economic growth it is considered, and low population growth in rich countries and higher in other countries. So similarly, SSP4 also similar kind of things. It includes the focus, the policy focused on the elite groups, and SSP5 is a fossil fuel development. So it's taking the highway, like it's completely the development is dependent upon the emission of the fossil fuels with the no reduction on the emissions. So based on these scenarios, the like increasing challenges to mitigation and increasing according to these the adaptation measures, the scenarios was developed for different climatic and sea level features. So when coming to the Puducherry's climate profile, I hope it is well known for all of you. So just have a glance through it. Like annual average rainfall is of Puducherry is 1,310 millimeter, and the average annual temperature ranges from 25 degrees to 28 degrees Celsius. The humidity ranges from 70 to 85 percentage. So the temperature, the maximum temperature will observe in the month of May and June. So and similarly, the like average minimum air surface temperature is observed up to like 27 to 28 degrees Celsius, and the average temperature is observed between 31 to 32 degrees Celsius, and the maximum air surface temperature is observed in 37 degrees Celsius. So similarly, the rainfall, hope the coastal areas of Tamil Nadu and Puducherry usually they will get the rainfall from the northeast monsoon. So here the month of November is the highest monsoon precipitation observed in the month of November. There is no decrease of temperature. So there is no decrease of temperature, only the increase of temperature was observed. The anomaly was only in the increasing trend. So similarly, if we take the projection also, the climate change projection also, if we compare the model with the projection in the uh, near future scenario as well as in the far future scenario, it is continuously in the increasing trend. Similarly, if we compare the monthly anomaly of the near future scenario, 2021 to 2039, the temperature in the increasing trend only. Suppose if we take the SSP 2.6, 1 degree rise of temperature up to 1 degree, and the SSP 8.5 rise of temperature up to 3.5 degree to 3. So this kind of increasing mean as surface temperature is increased. Similarly, the maximum of daily maximum temperature. So that is the one of the important issue during the summer season. So usually we will get more heat wave days. So if we check the rise of the temperature is also is more than 0.25 to 0.7 in this different scenarios. So if we check the heat index, so above 41 degrees Celsius, it's a very extreme heat day. So normally it is observed in the month of May and in April and June as well. So the month of May, the number of days would be more when compared to the historical trend. It is observed more than 4 to 5 days in all these scenarios. So this is about 39 degrees Celsius extreme heat days. So it is also observed above 8 days, 8 to 10 days in all these scenarios. So in coming years, definitely the number of hot days and very hot days will be increased. Similarly, the heat index above 37 degrees Celsius will observe more in April and June and followed by May. So don't think that in the month of May the heat will be reduced, because if we compare the previous slides, the very extreme and extreme heat days are more. So this indicates the employees and laborers like drivers, uh, and civil workers, or uh, uh, police or traffic police. So they are exposed, highly exposed to these kinds of like this increasing temperature. So their profession is highly threatened, and it results to more number of heat strokes, heat burns, and other related impacts. So it also relate to impacts on infrastructure such as the transport and energy sector. How it will be like the transport sector, it may in future more number of air conditioned bus, or more number of cooling stations, or more number of bus stations with air conditioners will be required. Similarly, the energy sector, the increasing heat results to more utilization of these air conditioners or air coolers. This results to high energy demand. So the increase of heat also results to increase the rate of evapotranspiration and evaporation. So this results to the evaporation of water from different water bodies such as lakes, ponds, or reservoirs. Once this high rate of evaporation is increasing in the coming years, this results to the water stress on the agriculture sector in addition to the heat. So more number of plant diseases and less productivity will be the chances of less productivity and more number of disease infection will be possible. So productivity loss in the livestock sector, I already mentioned about this poultry and dairy industries. So when compared to the minimum temperature, so usually the maximum temperature we will get during the daytime, and minimum temperature we will get during the night time. So the rise of minimum temperature means the nighttime temperature will also get increased. So this will be observed during the month of April, May, and June. So if we compare to the historical trend of 7 to 8 days in the historical trend, it will rise up to 15, more than 15 days. So more than half of a month of May, the the night also the temperature will be more. This results to the heat island effects in the urban areas. So the temperature will be more. So this may result to more chances of heat stroke and heat burns, particularly the senior citizen people the age of above 60. They are highly vulnerable. They are very highly vulnerable for this kind of situation. And like the daytime also we will usually use air conditioners in our office, and mostly these kind of situation results to more number of people will utilize air conditioners and air coolers in the coming years. So it may result to more high energy demand. So Puducherry is like if we take the precipitation, so if, if we take the precipitation, the projection of the precipitation, it also increases during the month of October to December. So this indicates the increase in the amount of rainfall during the northeast monsoon. So it also results to increase in the annual rainfall. So if we compare the percentage of projection, so this shows the increase of percentage of rainfall. We can see the strong increase in the southwest monsoon also. When compared to the northeast monsoon, here if we see the strong increase in the southwest monsoon. So this indicates we have more number of wet days in the southwest monsoon as well. So we have more chances of increasing in the annual rainfall as well as that it also results to the continuing of the wet situation of the soil. So if a more amount of rainfall will be observed in the northeast monsoon, this results to more flood situation. So if we take a maximum one-day precipitation, so this indicates the number of days will be more in like the number of amount of rainfall will be more in the month of November and December. So this indicates more number of rainfall and in a very short duration, and particularly during the northeast monsoon, and very gradual increase we can observe in the southwest monsoon. And so it have chances of flash flood in urban and coastal areas during the northeast monsoon. So if we take the consecutive maximum 5 days precipitation, so if we take consecutive 5 days, usually it will occur during the cyclone period. So this data shows more chances of more number of cyclone during the month of November and December. And also this indicates in the month of April. So we have more chances of increasing number of cyclones in these seasons. So during northeast monsoon, the rate of cyclone may increase in the coming decades. So in the cases of January, it also shows the increasing role. It also shows it in the month of January also the chances of getting cyclone is also possible in the coming decades. So this due to the basic reason behind this due to during the summer season, the abnormal rise of sea surface temperature may result to the chances of increasing cyclone in the month of April. So in coming to the consecutive dry days and consecutive wet days anomaly, so if we check, the consecutive dry days are more in the future. And compared to, if we compare consecutive wet days are more in this, wet days are more and consecutive dry days are very less in the future, particularly in the month of October to November. So this indicates the month of September to December and the September to December, the dry days and wet days. So more number of rainfall days we will have in the northeast monsoon season. But at the same time, if we check with the the summer spell, if we take the dry days are getting reduced in the consecutive wet days. So this results to the very less amount of rainfall we will get in the summer season. Apart from some extreme cyclonic events may occur in any few of the years in near future. So I hope this is well known to you all. You are working on this. So seasonal variability of availability of water supply. So it's based on the global data. So it shows Puducherry is in medium to high risk. Similarly, the baseline water stress also, Puducherry is high risk when compared to the nearby Kanchipuram and Kadalur districts. And interannual variability of available water supply, Puducherry is also under medium to high risks, but it is when compared to surroundings, it is low to medium. If we take Kanchipuram and the remaining areas, so it's under medium to high risk. and coastal eutrophication potential also, like this Puducherry region is coming at high risk due to the presence of mines and lot of quarries surrounding this region and its catchment areas. So, when coming to the coastal flood risk profile, so the coastal flood risk assessment was conducted based on the water level from 1 feet to 4 feet above high tide line. Could be reached through a combination of sea level rise, tides, and storm surge. So it's the data sets was prepared based on the global data. So like our parser data was used with 50-meter resolution, and tides in addition to sea level rise projections was used, and maps are not based on the physical storm and flood simulation and do not take into account on the factors such as erosion, future changes in the frequency or intensity of storms, inland flooding, and contributions from rainfall or rivers. It's only depend upon the sea level rise and rises and coastal flooding due to the storms or highest high tides in these regions. So if we take a sea level rise of 1 feet, so if we take a sea level rise of 1 feet, this shows the Vaitikuppam area and few places of White Town area and Virambatnam area. So these areas have, like the coastal areas, it's have very few areas have the sea level rise impacts. If we take the Tangaitipu area, nearby harbor as well as in the wetland areas, so the inundation level will be more. Similarly, like in Puducherry area also. So the inundation will be more in these areas if the sea level rise is up to 1 feet. Similarly, if we take the sea level rise up to 2 feet, the inundation level was further drastically increased in Tangaititu and Puducherry region. And if we take the inland region nearby the Ariyankuppam area also, the inundation level will be the inundation will be observed. So the inundation will go up to Punjole Kuppam as well as Kilinchi Kuppam. So these regions. And if we take the stretch of the coastal area, the complete White Town area from Vaitikuppam, so the complete area is highly threatened. So similarly, if the rise of water above like 3 feet, most of the both the sides of coastal regions of Tangaititu area region will get affected, and the Murugambakam area will also get affected, and more inland areas of the Ariyankuppam, including it has the settlements, more settlements areas also under threatened conditions. So it is still worsen in the sea level rise of above 4 feet. If the sea level rise is further increased above 4 feet, this results to the complete, like most of the coastal areas, like up to 100 meters are highly threatened, and it results to the severe coastal flooding in coming days. And similarly, in the Tengaititu and Virampatnam area and the Chinna Virampatnam area also, the coastal wetlands and coastal areas are also getting affected. Similarly, if we take the Puducherry area, will also get affected. So this is a sea level rise scenario for Karaikal region. So Netaji Nagar area and Akraivatam area are highly threatened for the minimum rise of 1 feet of sea level rise. So similarly, it is slightly increased for 2 feet of sea level rise, and 3 feet of sea level rise is drastically increasing. So in coming to the adaptation measures, so based on the best practices, global best practices, and best practices from the national level and the southern state level, I am suggesting these are some of the best practices I have gone through and based on my experience as well. So the following are the adaptive measures suggested for better resilience of future territory. The measures are considered in a decentralized approach based on the risk and needs of the locality. So it is not a centralized approach. So some areas have some solutions. So different solutions will be suitable for different localized risk. So this can be considered. So today I have to discuss about I wish to discuss about this nature-based solutions, early warning systems, and infrastructure resilience. So nature-based solutions, if we take mangrove restoration, I hope it is a well-known one. I don't need to much explain. So planting of mangroves in the intertidal zone, so it is useful to reduce the erosion and increases the carbon sequestration and enhance the biodiversity. And planting the local mangrove species is most considerable. Similarly, the seagrass bed production. So conserve and restore the seagrass beds to stabilize the sediment and improve the marine biodiversity. So it acts as a nursery for fishes and improves the coastal water quality. Similarly, the coral reef restoration. So establish the artificial reefs restoration or restore the natural coral reefs on offshore. So these are both the process. I think in most of the coastal areas of Tamil Nadu and Gujarat and in Andaman Nicobar Islands, it is happening. So some of the methods are providing very good results. So its benefits includes the reducing wave energy reaching the shore and supports the marine biodiversity and increases the tourism attraction. I hope Pondicherry is already famous for this tourism, coastal tourism. So you can further increase the biodiversity. It also results to the more number of tourism towards this scuba diving, snorkeling, etc. So and coming to coastal wetland restoration, so restore and expand wetlands near the coastal to act as a natural sponges of floodwater. So in recent days, this pond city concept was increasing in most of the states in India, particularly the eastern coastal regions, including West Bengal, Odisha, Tamil Nadu, and Andhra Pradesh. So this pond city concept, it's a very good concept to reduce the flood impacts and also to increase the water quality as well as the groundwater level in the coastal regions. So I hope some of the issues already discussed, he was discussed. So he discussed about this saltwater intrusion. So in some of the areas, sparsity concept is considered to reduce this seawater intrusion in these coastal aquifers. So because the freshwater, if we have continuously freshwater like infiltration, so it may able to reduce this seawater intrusion. So beach nourishment. So I hope this is well-known image for you all. So it's NIOT did this work for in collaboration with the Pondicherry government. So it's like beach nourishment taken places in the coastal areas of Pondicherry. So periodic addition of sand to the beaches to combat erosion is necessary. And this provides the recreational spaces and buffers for the storm impacts as well as it also acts buffer for the sea level rises. So dune stabilization, so involving the local communities to plant the native grasses and shrubs on dunes to prevent this sand erosions. So particularly this MGNRGA program or any other developmental program for the rural communities can be integrated for these kind of works. So it also strengthens the natural coastal defense systems and compared to these casuarina plantations kind of commercial one, better we can go for the dune stabilization of the native species and also some of the erosion the species will withstand the erosion such as vetiver grass etc. So living shorelines is another concept like it is recently developing in most of countries like constructing a living shorelines using natural materials like oyster reefs. So when compared to the development of mangrove forest or coral reef restoration, oyster reefs will provide direct benefits to the coastal communities. Particularly, it increases the water quality, reduces the erosion, and reduces the impacts of storm surges as well. So, in addition, the local communities will get the benefits like the oyster as a food for food for their food security, as well as it acts as a livelihood for them to sell it in local markets. And vegetation. Like if we plant the coastal vegetation is also one of the important factor. Like commercially, also the native species can be planted for the better restoration of sea level rise and coastal erosion. and coir logs. So our tropical region has more potentials of coconut fiber and coirs. So coirs can be used for these coastal protection purposes as well. So these activities will stabilize the shorelines, enhances the habitat for marine species, and reduces the wave action. So permeable surfaces, I hope most of our parks are already have the permeable surfaces. In addition to the parks, like the pedestrians or the pedestrians in the roads or the nearby the schools or any developmental regions or the urban areas, the pedestrians can be made as a impermeable surface. So it useful to like reduces the flood risk in the coastal areas. Similarly, the biosalves also. So, like if we develop a biosalves nearby the parking areas or in the highway areas, so this will be useful to reduce the flood as well as also used to filter the stormwaters. So it improves the urban flood management and reduces the heat island effect also. So in addition, it has a multiple benefits. In addition to the flood risk reduction, it also leads to reduce the heat impacts. So these are some of the global best practices. I have already shared my slide with you. So I can get a slide from Ms. Shanta Lakshmi. So the best practices include the urban heat wave, coastal flooding, and river flooding and urban flood. So different countries, how they successfully implemented these projects, and all these case studies are available in this. So in coming to the early warning system, so it is well known that like most of the people from the government sector, people will know that early warning is a set of capacities that needed to generate, disseminate timely and meaningful warning information to enable individuals, communities, and organizations threatened by different hazards to prepare and to act appropriately and in sufficient time to reduce the possibility of loss. It's simply a set of uh, 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 capacities to inform about the hazard information for the better preparedness. So uh, there are four key elements in the early warning systems. So one is the risk information or knowledge, and monitoring and warning, dissemination of alerts and warnings, and preparedness at all levels to respond. So these all these key elements, if it is included, then only it is considered as a end-to-end early warning systems. So so if we come to these early warning systems, in the risk knowledge, we have the hazard related information. Usually we will get from the nodal agencies. For example, if we have the nodal agencies for IMD as a nodal agency for cyclone, rainfall, and INCOIS as a nodal agency for the storm surge. So GSA for landslides. So similarly, there are different nodal agencies of that. So they will provide the hazard related information. So once we have the hazard information, we will come to know which are all the elements at risk. Elements, which means indicates the number of population, lands, land use, different agriculture lands, how much agriculture area. So like this kind of information, if we have a proper geospatial database, we can easily able to calculate this elements at risk and vulnerabilities. So in addition, we should have the vulnerability data for the community level as well as at the infrastructure level. So it is easy to estimate which are the infrastructures or communities or which are the system will be highly threatened. So when coming to the monitoring and warning, so we have rainfall monitoring system. We have IMD have, and some of the revenue departments and other departments will have the rainfall information. In addition, the river water level or drainage water level or the reservoir water level or different water bodies water level, like some of the water sources department may have. And in addition to this, if we have the inundation sensors at the streets, or if we have the video-based water level monitoring, like using government CCTVs, so these will be helpful. So some of these was still practiced in Greater Chennai Corporation. I hope it is well known for you people also. So finally, it comes to the warning decision. So whether to issue the warning or not. So the warning will be disseminated and communicated at different media such as radio, TV, telephones, and household warnings. And finally, the evacuation will happen, like ever to the highly vulnerable communities to the evacuation centers, and post-disaster search and rescue, and issue of the relief goods as well. So these are the part of end-to-end early warning system. So there are some of the best practices I have gone through. So like one is the TN Smart. It is available in Tamil Nadu. So they have a end-to-end early warning system. And Satak is early warning system in Odisha. And sea flows, if we have the proper risk information, we can check the sea flows. It was developed by NCCR, so previously it called as ICNA. So they have developed this risk information for Chennai, Mumbai, and Pune. So it have complete risk information. It includes the hazard as well as the different simulation models for different kinds of hazard scenario and the vulnerability profile. And at the same time, if we have a risk information and hazard monitoring, the FFEWS Kolkata, it is considered as one of the like robust technology it was used. So they have monitoring the inundation up to street level, and like pumping stations and waters, drainages, lot of water bodies. They have these monitoring systems. It was developed by Asian Development Bank. So this FFEWS is also suggested for Puducherry. So like the area is similar to the Kolkata area. Like you can easily able to monitor the city region. So in that way, and NDEM, so National Database for Emergency Management. I hope IDR and Indian Disaster Resource Network of NADM. I hope you all people will aware that. I hope monthly or seasonal or annual based information you are uploading in the IDRN website. But IDRN will give only the information in attribute or table formats. If we feed the same information in NDEM, it will provide in a spatial format. It will easy for taking some decision. Suppose the resources nearby, suppose the volunteers nearby, affected area, alternative routes, and are easily able to plot. So this NDEM also is suggested. And dissemination of alerts, I hope already CAP is implemented throughout India. So initially it was tried in Tamil Nadu, but it is already it's already implemented throughout India. I hope in Puducherry also people are receiving the CAP alerts. So and Earth Network Lightning Alert in AP. So that is also considered as important threat in recent days, lightning and thunderstorm. So Earth Network Lightning Alert in AP is also considered as one of the best practices. So there are different cutting edge technologies are used in the early warning systems. One is big data analytics and artificial intelligence. Followed by the GIS, we have different GIS layers, include administrative boundaries, water bodies, road network, land use, and another thematic maps. And remote sensing data includes weather information, high resolution satellite images are also used. So different technologies like mobile applications and Internet of Things also like it's applied used in these cutting edge technologies. And cost-effective sensors like various cost-effective sensors like river water level monitoring system, road inundation monitoring system, and drainage level monitoring system. So these kind of different low-cost sensor network was also is one of the developing this disaster management sector. So this is just a snapshot of NDEM showing this forecast for this 21st December for the ocean currents. So it's a forecast which provided for Puducherry also. So it's just a snapshot, so people can also explore it. So, so I just want to mention about this infrastructure resilience. So if we check the climate change based hazard risk and vulnerability assessment, it is need to record conduct at the different infrastructure levels such as road, road, railways, and different transport medium, and health sector like hospitals and primary health centers, and its supplying units, and drinking water supply, and energy sectors, education, sanitation, and civil supply sectors. So, like as per the Sendai framework for disaster risk reduction, we have already achieved the reducing the global disaster mortality. So, like in India level also, we have reduced the disaster mortality, and we have reduced the number of people affected, and we have reduced the direct. We are in the process of reducing direct economic loss in relation to GDP, as well as the reducing disaster damage to the critical infrastructure. So it is important to study the critical infrastructures based on this HRVA aspect. So different hazards, natural as well as man-made hazards to these critical infrastructures need to be studied based on the different elements with reference to the different infrastructures. So this is also like one of the sessions provided for the government of Puducherry. So here I am closing my session. I thank the entire DST department for providing this great opportunity to present this presentation to the wide variety of audience. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your informative presentation, sir. Participants, if you are having any queries, you are free to open up and ask the queries to our resource person. You can also give your queries and type your queries in the messages also if you are not willing to ask in online.
Sir, I'm Balaji. I would like to ask something.
Yeah, yes, sir, please.
Uh, so, sir, from your experience, what would you say is the like an actual best case of early warning for different hazards, sir? For example, if it is the hazard is a flood, or if the hazard is a uh, heat wave, what would be the best case of early warning, or what would you say as a late warning? Late warning in the sense not after the hazard has occurred, but before the hazard. Say, for example, if flood, we have to evacuate a lot of people. From the time the organization issues a warning to the emergency operations center, it processes the information, and then the actual warning to the people is taken. So, how much days would you say, from your experience, it takes for different hazards? And does heat wave really need? I mean, how is early warning pertaining to heat wave is effective, sir?
Yeah, very good question. So, actually, you asked two aspects, question in two aspects. So, which are all the best practices for different hazards, and which are all the how effective the early warning for the heat waves. So, I like to answer for your first question is like there are multi-hazard early warning systems are available. Like TN Smart and Satark are multi-hazard early warning systems. So they will not only provide the early warnings for floods, so they will provide early warnings for different disasters such as heat waves. They have provided early warning for cyclones and lightning and thunderstorm as well in recent days. So similarly, if we take common alert protocol, I hope you all receiving the NDMA alerts even for lightning and thunderstorm, and as well as the heavy rainfall alerts also they are sending it. So that will provide a alert for multiple disasters. But in case of like early warning for the heat waves, There are few early EWS systems are providing. Suppose if we take Satak from Odisha, they are providing the early warning system for heat waves. But for heat wave early warning at a city level or a sub city level, we need a proper heat wave index map. The heat wave index map need to be produced at a sub-district level or a ward level. It required because once if we have those kind of risk information only, these alerts have some utility because if we continuously sending alerts, if it not provide in reality if it not useful for the public means slowly the public will not use these alert information, so they will hesitate to use it. So if you have proper risk information, if you develop a heat wave index at a ward level, definitely you can use this heat wave alerts as well. But very few cities like Indore and Nagpur and Ahmedabad, so very few cities. So very few cities has developed these heat wave index at a like sub-city level, like ward or tehsil level they have developed. Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Any other questions from any other participants? You can just ask to our resource person. Otherwise, we can just move on to the vote of thanks. Okay, then we move on to the vote of thanks. Now we request Tirupati S. Shanti Lakshmi of Senior Project Associate of Puducherry Climate Change Cell to give the vote of thanks to this webinar.
Thank you, Tenwil. So, good evening to everyone. On behalf of the Puducherry Climate Change Cell, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to all the participants for joining today's webinar on Puducherry's coastal future, adapting to climate change and rising sea levels. Your active participation and insightful contributions are very important to our collective commitment to addressing the pressing changes of climate change. Our sincere thanks to Dr. Yuvraj for delivering an impactful presentation. His detailed insights into early warning systems, risk management, and natural based solutions have provided us with a clear direction to enhance our resilience against climate related challenges, particularly concerning the alarming rise in sea levels along Puducherry's coastline. His focus on understanding the specific vulnerabilities of our region and strategies to mitigate these risks have been invaluable. I also express our deep appreciation to Thiru K. Kalamagam, Environmental Engineer, Department of Science, Technology, Environment, for his inspiring keynote address. His thought provoking words have laid a strong foundation for meaningful discussions and actions in tackling coastal resilience. I would also like to thank our department director for his unwavering support and encouragement in organizing this webinar. Your guidance has been invaluable in marking this event a success. Once again, I thank all the participants for your active involvement in today's webinar. Let us carry forward the insights gained and work together to build a resilient and sustainable future for Puducherry. Thank you all. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Sri, for providing this opportunity. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. We now wind up the webinar, sir. Thank you for all joining for this webinar.